I was just chatting to a client the other day who is basically retelling a common story we hear, and it's probably an issue with the medical profession per se. So whether that's, us as physios or allied health or GPs or specialists, where the client's very active, wants to stay active, but has a small problem with the knee, and that means that it can be a little bit unstable, and we get the same thing with backs, or the same things with shoulders, or basically we get natural things are we get a bit older, the body says no, and the brain and the mind say yes, and the body's like nah. But does that mean that it has to be a no? Does it mean that we have to settle? So we do get comments from clients who have been to someone and they've basically been told, well, that's that then, you've got arthritis, or you have a disc problem, or you have this, and we'll just manage that now and give up your sport. And most people aren't ready to give up their sport. Most people aren't ready to go, what, hang on a minute, I've got a ligament damage here, or I've got a bursitis here, or I've got a disc problem here, or I've got a facet problem here. A lot of people don't want to give up their sport and their activities, and I think at the end of the day, from a personal, this is a very personal point of view, you need to be ready. You need to be ready to go, what, the benefits of what I'm doing and not outweighing the problems I'm getting afterwards, or yes, I know this is pushing me and it's sore, but it's what I want to do. So probably from a physio management point of view, what you need to look at doesn't matter what your problem is. So if we have a bit of wear and tear, if we have a bit of arthritis, the best management for things like that is being stronger. Now, how that looks can be different. How that looks to different people can be different. I hate running. I cannot think of anything worse than jogging and running. It freaks the hell out of me. I have no desire to do it. I don't enjoy it. I don't see the pleasure in it. However, lots of people do. So it really is what floats your boat. And if what floats your boat is able to be worked into what you want to do. So if you're a runner and you happen to have a knee issue where your knee is arthritic, generally the thing would be, look, running places a lot of load on your knee. Running in straight lines is going to place a lot of load on your knee. Running up and down hills is going to put increased load on your knee, as is something like trail running, where you're constantly changing directions. However, recent research has said that arthritic knees actually are better if they're running, where previously we'd say, research was no, it's going to wear them out quicker in sort of common layman's terms. And that isn't really what happens. What really happens is that arthritis is just like old age. It's just the joint's way of getting old. We get wrinkles, we get grey hair, the skin gets a bit saggy, we're not as mobile as we used to be, and all those external changes are happening on the inside too. So if you are, you're getting older, from about 25 onwards, your tissues on the insides are getting older too. So you get less collagen in them. Your joint spaces aren't as fluidy as they used to be. So hence why we lose a bit of height as we get older. It's because there's not as much fluid around. The joints are a little bit stiffer. Everything's a little bit stiffer and a bit stickier than it used to be. Now, if you let that happen, and you put stress through the joint, and you don't have the muscles around it to actually support it, it's going to get stressed and strained at a quicker rate than if you did have muscle strength. So if I'm stressing something and I'm moving it and I'm banging and I'm running and I'm doing things, but my muscles aren't supported, then all those joints forces are going through the joint. However, if I've got muscle strength, which is giving my joint some support, then I'm translating a lot of that through the muscle, and the muscles are supporting the joint, so there's less stress on the joint. So in actual fact, if you are arthritic, or you've got osteo, which is basically osteoarthritis. You need to move and you need to exercise, because the arthritis means that your joint's getting stiffer and your joint's getting weaker because it's not got the support, and the management of that is to move and to exercise. So it's a little bit of a contradiction in terms. What you then choose to do to exercise is where the sort of trick of the trade lies. So if you are doing running because it's cardio and you love running, but it's just cardio you're after, you can swap out your cardio for something else. You could swap out cardio for swimming, or you could swap it for rowing, or you could swap it for cycling. If it's running that you have to do, and running is your it's your mental ease and it's what you do for stress relief, then we need to ensure that your biomechanics are good, that everything you're doing is good, that you're minimizing your risk by ensuring that you're running on good surfaces, that you are wearing the right equipment, that you've done all the work you need to do to ensure that you're minimizing the load and the risk on your knees. So if you're going and you're getting pretty much annoyed because you're not getting the support, you've got to work out what is it you want to do and why, and what is it that you perceive you want to be able to be doing despite having a bursitis or this or that. And it might be that it takes a little while to build up the strength around the area, but it shouldn't just be you've got a bursitis, you've got arthritis, you've got a disc problem, that's it, go away and manage it, just take painkillers, because you're going to go away and do nothing, and that's going to be the worst thing ever. So probably the moral of the story, and what I'm trying to get at, is that a lot of people are let down in the medical profession, and I know that. I've had my own kids and my own husband who have had injuries or fractures or ruptures, and I've known they've been ruptured or they've been fractured, and taken them to the right person who I thought was the right person, and they've said, no, don't be stupid, go away, and then taken them back and gone to see somebody else, because I've known, actually, this is not right, this isn't how things respond, this needs to be looked at better. However, I'm in the medical profession and I know my stuff, which means that I'm able to fight, and I'm able to go, yeah, not accepting that, that's not right. For the Joe Blood public, and you don't have that medical knowledge and you don't have that awareness of what is normal, and somebody says to you, look, you've got this going on, that's it, I would give up all your sport and just try and manage your leg, because you'll be looking at a total knee, or you're looking at a total hip, or you're looking at injections down the track. Generally people panic and do nothing, and then you are looking at a total knee or a total hip or injections down the track because you've been too scared to move. So probably the message that I want you guys to know is, get a second opinion. If you are in pain, or you've been to see your GP, or you've been to see your specialist and they've given you a diagnosis, whatever that may be, it doesn't mean that you have a diagnosis and you are defined by that diagnosis. It means that you have something that is going on that we just have to think laterally a little bit to manage it. So in the event of going back to running, or if you have a ligament that's unstable, you still might want to play sport, and a lot of youngsters do, they still want to play sport, but you might have a collateral ligament that's unstable. So would we say go and play on your lateral, like your unstable ligament? No. We'd want you to train it, we'd want you to stabilize it, we'd want you to get stronger, we'd want to make sure we could put stresses through it, but we would also then get you to train and progress using some support, which is taping or strapping or managing it, and making sure that you are sports specific in what you do, so that you are able to cope with the stresses, but you're also aware that you are potentially at risk because this ligament is weaker. So you need to be extra aware and prep extra special for when you're training and when you're taping. The caveat that we have with a lot of our younger ones, or even our older ones who are doing sport, is go on at the end of the game where everyone's getting tired, you're on fresh, you're not on with heaps of people who are you know, ready to go, they're all fatiguing, they're getting a bit tired, so they're a little bit slower, go on towards the end and sub on for 20, like the last 10 minutes, and see how that works out for you. Make sure that you're able to play like mini mock games before you go and try and going back to your sport. There's always potentially workarounds. Obviously there's sometimes there's not. You've got a massively unstable knee, it ain't going to work, you stand up and it buckles underneath you, you probably do need surgery for that. However, there's still prehab, they're still making sure that you come from a place of being strong. So if you feel that you've been a little bit thrown by the wayside, that you know you've had a diagnosis or a problem and you've just been given potentially painkillers and go away, see how it goes and come back, or give up your sport, give up your activity, change what you're doing work-wise, maybe come and see us. There might be something we can change, there might be something we can do. It doesn't mean that, you know, what you do lifestyle-wise has to be over and you sit on the sidelines forever. It might be that we just need to reshift and refocus what you're up to so that you're still able to be active, but maybe just in a slightly different way. So if that resonates with you, if you think, you know what, I'm getting on but I'm not done, but my knee or my back or my hip or my shoulder or, you know, something else is telling me I'm semi-done and I just need help managing it so I can stay active and doing what I want to do without being thrown to the wayside, then give us a call and we can chat. Take care.